Hey, Enamananiacs, welcome back to your channel. Today we're talking about Wicked Part 1, a movie that flips the classic Oz story on its head. This is more than just a musical. It's a deep dive into the origins of one of cinema's most famous villains, showing us a completely different side of the Wicked Witch of the West. We'll explore how this film expands on the Wizard of Oz, analyze the complex relationship between Elphaba and Glinda, break down the film's themes and performances, and see whether this highly anticipated adaptation delivers. Let's get into it. For decades, The Wizard of Oz has been a beloved classic, presenting a world where good and evil seem black and white, but wicked. Part 1 challenges that notion, showing us that the so-called Wicked Witch wasn't born wicked. She was made into a villain by a corrupt system. Directed by John M. Chu, this adaptation of the hit Broadway musical brings a fresh perspective, focusing on power, perception, and the consequences of defying expectations. Elphaba, played by Cynthia Erivo, is a gifted young woman whose green skin makes her an outcast. Her desire to fight for justice clashes with the political forces of Oz, leading her down a path where she is misunderstood, feared, and ultimately labeled as wicked. Meanwhile, Glinda, portrayed by Ariana Grande, starts as a shallow, self-absorbed socialite, but undergoes a transformation of her own, choosing to embrace the role of the Good Witch at a cost. Their friendship, rivalry, and diverging paths form the emotional core of the film, making Wicked more than just a spectacle. It's a story about identity, sacrifice, and the way history is rewritten by those in power. One of the most powerful moments in the film is when Glinda and Elphaba share their most emotional dance together at Shiz University. This scene starts as an awkward, almost comedic moment. Glinda, the effortlessly graceful one, tries to coax Elphaba, the shy outcast, onto the dance floor. At first, Elphaba hesitates, convinced that she doesn't belong among the swirling gowns and polished smiles. But then, in a moment of pure magic, Glinda takes her hand and the two begin to dance. For the first time, Elphaba isn't being mocked. She's being embraced. The camera lingers on their laughter, the way Glinda twirls Elphaba around, breaking past the social barriers that had defined them. It's a moment of pure, unspoken friendship, a brief escape from the expectations placed upon them. This scene is so touching because it foreshadows the love and heartbreak that will define their relationship. For this one dance, they exist in a world where they can just be two young women enjoying a fleeting moment of joy before reality comes crashing down. But reality does crash down. Elphaba's story is one of resilience. She begins as someone who wants to help others but is constantly met with prejudice and betrayal. Her rejection by those she trusted forces her into a role she never intended to play. The film also critiques blind authority, showing how figures like the wizard use propaganda to maintain control, turning people against those who challenge the status quo. Glinda's journey, on the other hand, highlights the complexities of morality. While she initially enjoys the privileges of popularity, she slowly realizes that true goodness isn't about appearances, but about the choices we make. Yet, when faced with the decision to stand by Elphaba or maintain her own status, she hesitates, choosing the safer path. This makes her a far more layered character than in The Wizard of Oz, where she was simply portrayed as pure and virtuous. The film also touches on issues of discrimination, power, and the manipulation of public perception, making it feel especially relevant in today's world. One of the biggest strengths of Wicked Part 1 is its casting. Cynthia Erivo delivers a powerhouse performance as Elphaba, bringing both vulnerability and strength to the role. Her rendition of Defying Gravity is nothing short of breathtaking, capturing the emotional weight of her transformation. Ariana Grande, known for her pop persona, surprises audiences with a performance that balances comedy, charm, and genuine depth, making Glinda a far more complex character than expected. Visually, the film is a feast for the eyes. The Emerald City is brought to life with dazzling detail, blending theatrical grandeur with cutting-edge CGI. The costumes, especially Elphaba's iconic transformation, feel both familiar and refreshed, paying homage to the original while making it clear that this is a new interpretation. The cinematography also adds to the story's emotional impact, with sweeping shots that make the world of Oz feel both magical and imposing. Musically, the film stays true to the Broadway show, delivering fan-favorite numbers like Popular for Good and, of course, Defying Gravity, with cinematic flair. While some critics have noted that certain moments feel overly faithful to the stage version, the film's grand scale and deeper character focus make it feel fresh for both longtime fans and newcomers. Wicked. Part 1 succeeds in bringing a beloved musical to the screen with stunning visuals, emotional depth, and standout performances. Its biggest strength lies in how it redefines its characters, turning a classic fairy tale into a thought-provoking drama about perception and power. The chemistry between Erivo and Grande is a highlight, making their evolving relationship feel authentic and heartbreaking. However, the film does have some drawbacks. Since this is only part 1, the story ends at a crucial turning point, making it feel incomplete. Some scenes, particularly in the first act, take time to build, which might make the pacing feel slow for those unfamiliar with the source material. Additionally, while the movie remains faithful to the musical, some fans might have hoped for a few more cinematic reinventions to set it apart. Overall, though, Wicked Part 1 is an impressive adaptation that brings depth and emotion to a story many thought they already knew. One of the most fascinating things about Wicked is how it reshapes the story of the Wizard of Oz. Instead of a simple battle between good and evil, it reveals that Elphaba's so-called wickedness was never her choice. She was painted as a villain by those in power. The wizard, once seen as a benevolent figure, is exposed as a manipulator who uses fear to maintain control. Even Glinda, often remembered as a perfect heroine, is shown to have made compromises that benefited her while costing Elphaba everything. The way Wicked Part 1 ends suggests that Part 2 will bring us even closer to the events of the Wizard of Oz, potentially showing how the infamous tornado brings Dorothy into this world. It's an exciting setup that makes the story feel like a missing piece of the Oz mythology. Wicked Part 1 is more than just a prequel. It's a film that challenges the way we see familiar stories. It takes a character once dismissed as pure evil and gives her a voice, showing how the lines between hero and villain are often drawn by those in power. With breathtaking performances, stunning visuals, and a powerful message, this movie proves why Wicked has remained such an enduring story. But now, I want to hear from you. Do you think Elphaba was truly wicked, or was she just misunderstood? Are you more drawn to her fight for justice, or do you relate to Glinda's struggle between morality and reputation? Let's talk in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss our next big breakdown. Thanks for watching Ina Media. And remember, sometimes it's the ones who challenge the rules that make history.